All right, let's go check this print. Oh man, it failed. Oh hi, I didn't see you there. Let's go talk about why this print failed and what we can do to make it better next time. One of the main reasons a 3D print might fail is because of bed adhesion, and one of the main things stopping things from holding on to your print bed is your finger oils. Stop touching your print bed when you take prints off of it. Use a tool or something if you need to, but for right now, let's go wash that print bed. Use a little bit of warm water, dish soap, rubbing alcohol, anything like that. Get that print bed nice and clean, get those skin oils off of it. After that, we need to make sure we're printing in the right temperatures. Let me show you how to do that. Here in Cura in the marketplace, right up here, if we come into the search bar and do a search for temp towers, you'll find this auto towers generator. Go ahead and click install. Once you have that auto tower generator installed, you're going to want to click here on extensions, auto towers, and then come down to the filament you're using, ABA, ABS, PETG, PLA, whatever it is. I'm going to click on PLA right now. It's going to add this tower in the background here to your print, which is programmed already to start at 230 degrees. It prints these recessed numbers. It prints an overhang, it prints an arch, a bridge, and then it'll lower it by 5 degrees, 225, 220, and it goes all the way up to like 180 or 185, something like that. Your job after you print it without supports, is to come in and look at each one and see which print's the best, which one has the least amount of spaghetti hanging off the bottom, where the overhangs are best, where the arches are best, where the numbers look the best. You make that decision and then write this number on the side of your filament roll. That way you'll always remember that when you're using this filament, you want to do it at 220 or 215 or whatever works best for your print. After you make that decision, let me show you how to change the temperature that you're printing from. We're going to click over here on this little downward arrow, and I like to come in here first to this hamburger menu and change this to all. Your default is probably basic. Let's go ahead and change it to all. In all, we're going to talk a couple times about materials right here. In material, the first thing we want to do, this first one is probably set to 200 degrees as a default. I found that on my printer, for most of my PLAs, 220 works best, so I've been using 220. I did that with my temp tower. But use your temp towers. You come in here and decide what you think your best temperature is and use that. Another thing here in materials we can look at to try and make sure your prints are actually holding on to the print bed better is if we scroll down a little bit and we find this build plate temperature right here. Not all printers are going to have a warm build plate, but if it does, if your default is anything under 60, I recommend moving it up to 60. 60 degrees is going to help the PLA stay tacky enough to kind of grip onto the build plate a little bit better, and then you'll get a better print if it's holding onto the build plate better. So I recommend moving this up to 60 degrees Celsius. One other thing that can affect some of your printing is the speed you're printing at. Some people see when they slice something it's going to take 10 hours and they don't want it to take 10 hours, so they come into speed and they change these speed settings. Sometimes that extruder gets moving too fast and it just it pulls on the print a little bit too much and it causes it to break and fail. So I wouldn't go much faster than 60. If you think that's the problem, if you're watching your print and you see it pulling on a little bit too much and you think you need to go slower, you can come in here and lower it down to like 50 or 40 millimeters a second. Another thing that happens to a lot of prints, a lot of people don't realize they need supports in their print. This right here is a mini overhang support. I'll try and add the Thingiverse link to this to the YouTube video. This is to help me determine, if I print this without supports, which angles are best to not need supports. After I printed this, I decided I probably didn't need supports at anything under 55 degrees. I could print slower and probably bump that up to 60 degrees. That's going to help me use less filament. It's also going to help me know when I need to use supports and when I don't. But we can click here on this generate support button. The first support that's going to use is normal. Let me show you what a normal support looks like. I have to go ahead and slice it. After it's sliced, I need to click on preview to see what these look like, and I'll close these settings right here. These little accordion things right here, these are the supports. You can see sometimes they sit right on the bottom of the print. They come all the way up here. These are kind of accordion normal supports. They can be difficult to remove. They can break sometimes. Sometimes you have to sand after them. But try it out, see what you think. I don't like them personally, but there are other people who do like them. Another kind of support we can use if we come in here, and you can only see this if you've turned on the all feature, maybe expert in here, but you won't see it on basic. You can come in here, and in this drop down menu we can click on tree supports, and we can use the angles right here. We can set which angle we want it to support from here, and then click slice again. We're already in preview, and we can see here, that's what the tree supports look like. These, I feel like they use a little bit less filament, and they're a little bit easier to remove from your prints than normal supports are. So go ahead and give that a try. That should help you also. The last thing I want to talk to you about is build plate adhesion, the setting right here. The default is probably a skirt, which is going to look like this little line around it. That's not going to do much except help to hold on to a little bit of heat, help and radiate a little bit of heat upwards towards the print so that things stay kind of warm. It's not going to help us stick to the print. This particular print that failed at the beginning of the video has a little tiny base with 90-degree angles. Those are two things that don't like to be printed. 90-degree angles tend to pull up and warp a little bit, and smaller things just don't have enough to hold on to the print bed. So if you have 90-degree angles, you have to use probably a brim or build in some sort of mouse ear on the 90-degree corners that you can cut off later. But use at least a minimum of a brim on here to keep those 90-degree angles from warping. Brim is a single layer around the outside of the print that's there to help it hold on. Sometimes, like the print at the beginning of the video, the brim was just too little, and to make it work I actually had to come back in here and set it to print with a raft. A raft is anywhere from 2 to 4 layers, and it's a much bigger adhesion than the brim. You can see here's the raft. It is a bigger adhesion. It comes out farther away, and it will just hold on to the print a little bit better to the print bed. Okay, so I hope those things help you. Keep your print bed clean, check your printing temperatures, check your bed temperatures, check your speeds, check your supports, and check your adhesions. If you have 90-degree angles, use at least a brim or a raft to get those 90-degree angles to work better. All right? Hope that helps. Go have fun.
Now that I've got this successfully printed, let me know in the comments any other curious questions you might have. Don't forget to like and subscribe.